Ayojo Aho Tifa Faname Foma Amesi Mabufa Dola Yusef Uga Israel Hashtag nobody. Me. Kaiwo Nyopon. What? Makes us special. What makes us special? In my people's native tongue, again, the tongues that you hear me speak in, I speak in a few dialects. As I become more and more versed, fluid daily. Not fluid yet, but I'm learning. Again, I'm learning multiple dialects. So you don't hear me just speak in one dialect, but there's one that I predominantly speak and teach in. But when it comes to the names of the Most High, or that which you would call God, one of our root dialects, again, I refer to these, there is one root language, the so-called language of creation, and then slowly dialects came from that lineage. One of them, it is referred to as, or he, so that you can understand, is referred to as, or described as, rather, Adoman Goma Anyokbon. Anyokbon. And Anyokbon means the unique one. Translates to special. You hear us all the time within our culture, black culture. It seems that we are fixated with being one of a kind. Special, unique. But in that vain pursuit, we seem to be becoming more and more like everyone else. nature. I could be here all day going into philosophy. But I'm not going to bore you with that. Rather, I'm going to quickly stick to this point. What is it? You claim to serve a deity that is so unique, so special, yet you find nothing unique in our people outside of, entertainment. When we talk about uniqueness, we're only talking about entertainment, singing and dancing and running and jumping. We claim these things as culture, and they are a part of culture. But you will hear this drum beat steadily coming from me, and it will begin to steadily be repeated in your ears as time goes on, because we have to begin to ask ourselves these questions, and not only ask these questions, but seek answers. Not just answers, but truth. And the truth is, outside how do I say this? Outside of entertainment, it's a deeper conversation, so I'm trying to frame these things in generalities and simply for the sake of time, without sounding ignorant or uninformed or obtuse or inconsiderate. We claim things for culture that every culture has. Example, in our ever-building FBA community, Foundational Black American Community, we've adopted a mantra coming from the coiner of the phrase, our mentor, who no one likes to mention. We treat him like he's the Most High. We give him the reverence we should give the Most High. But Uncle Jason Black, aka the Black Authority, I think he changed it to the Foundational Black Authority. But like he says, we have when our culture is questioned, a culture of resistance, which on a deeper level, honest to say, truly examined, it is resistance and stubbornness are identical twins. But I digress so we may progress. My point is, any culture that you examine at some point in their history can point to resistance. Every culture has art and entertainment, singing and dancing, playable. Every culture has that. And if we're being honest, all of these arenas, it's not like we're just dominating them, to be all honest. If we're being sincere and take our emotional baggage out of it. I say that to say again, what is it that makes culture special? What separates us from everyone else? And if we start with our hit, which is Anyokpon, the Most High, you have to ask yourself, okay, if He is the author and finisher of our faith, as it were, and this is where it gets also, again, large conversation into the importance of, when it says the God of the Israelites, okay, that's staking claim and ownership to a specific culture. So if you don't examine that culture, if you separate that culture or that deity from its people, then you're going to lose the understanding of that deity, of that God. What is it, woman, when you take the God of the Bible, the God of the Hebrew Bible, the God of the Israelites? What is it that separated Him from the other gods? Open book test. I will give you a moment to answer. What is it that separated the God of the Bible, the God of the Israelites, the God of the Hebrews from the other gods? Ooh, it's hurt. I know this is hurting a lot. This is going to hurt a lot of Christians' feelings, a lot of pastors, bishops, right? Everything you've been taught, everything y'all fight against, everything that you've been taught to hate and shun. Come on, what is it? So many levels to this one. It said, who is like this people, who hath a God that is not afar off, but so near? What do they mean by that? You've been taught it's because of miracles, and there's a whirlwind right beside them, and fire, pillar of fire. I call that superhero theology. That's the God spell, so that you will never live and accept the reality, aka the truth. For me, what separated Him? Be holy as I am holy. Understand the definition of holy is separation. What separated Him from was His morals, His standards, His code, aka the law. The splendor and the beauty that we are supposed to reflect is that law. The degradation that you see is because we are not upholding that law. And when you see me, no, I don't look like anything you've seen. I thought to myself, this is a Ghanaian schmuck, a Batikare Fugu. I said, I've never seen one of these a day in my life on Western soil. One of a kind. Neo Miniaba, are you? Shra. Miniba. Piao.